deaths reach 127. There are two writers to that story. Protesters condemn killings. United Nations urges military to protect civilians. PDP asks Tinubu to declare national mourning. Victims may demand 29 billion naira. Federal government votes 50 billion naira for student loan. And away from that story, family mourns Nigerian lady strangled to death in UK. Suspected ritualists dismember OAU student, sell parts to Ogun. Yeah, oh boy. Supreme Court, 11 justices scale NJC hurdles, await Tinubu's nod. And 346 billion naira voted for presidential jets, refreshments, others. Airlines eye $964 billion. Nigerian, African carriers post losses. And finally, from the Punch newspaper, federal government loses $161 million to 9-year conflict with INT'L. That's according to the NPA.
All right, headlines out of the Premium Times. Major story, NJC recommends 11 for appointment as Supreme Court justices. Analysis, can Chad's constitutional referendum still be saved? Timeline of airstrikes by Nigerian military, which led to deaths of civilians. COP28, amidst austerity, Nigeria's government-funded delegates increased 250% in 1 year. National Assembly to sanction ministers, MDAs not committed to budget. Defense 2024 budget, EFCC proposes 2.6 billion naira for vehicles, demands extra 33 billion naira allocation. EFCC closes case against ex-governor Suswam in 3.1 billion naira fraud trial. Akeredolu court to hear suit seeking probe of Akeredolu's health. But Biamila denies plans to renovate official residence with 10 billion naira. Abuja robbery victim brought in dead to hospital panel. Another one here. Third Republic lawmakers demand payment of outstanding salaries, allowances. And lastly, from the Premium Times this morning, group protests rising insecurity in North demand resignation of Defense Minister.
Some stories out of the Vanguard newspaper. More suffering for retirees as federal government cuts pension spending by 21%. NJC okays 11 new justices for Supreme Court. Demolition court freezes Kano government accounts over 30 billion naira compensation. I move on to the major story on the Vanguard. Bombing error won't deter fights against terrorism. This is according to the defense minister. The writers to that major headline, UN deploys incident, death toll rises to 127, victims recount ordeals. Some injured moved to Army 44 Reference Hospital. PDP demands probe, compensation for victims. CSO seeks overhaul of security architecture. We move away from that major story. Budget 2024, military to sustain assaults on terrorist bandits. And some more stories says plot to subvert people's will portends danger, according to coalition. Pastor Chris Oyakilome sharing God's love. Away from that, stop tax waivers, concessions already granted to corporate entities, Senate tells federal government. And lastly, on the Vanguard, government should discourage pegging naira to a currency, according to experts.
All right, headlines from the Daily Trust newspaper now. Gunmen stole Kogi governorship election petitions from tribunal secretary. That's credited to the police. Now, protesters storm National Assembly over Kaduna village bombing. Major story, NJC recommends appointment of 11 Supreme Court justices, zero allocation for Mambila Power Project in 2024 budget. Kaduna village massacre, protesters besiege National Assembly. Zaria. Gunmen attack Kogi Election Tribunal scribe, caught away petition documents. PDP accuses Jigawa government of illegal deduction of local government funds. Court sacks Ekiti PDP caretaker committee. Elsewhere, ATBU students killed while trying to recover girlfriend's bag from robbers. Police. Why terrorism continues despite huge budgetary allocations. Defense chief will ensure Kaduna bomb victims get justice. Kaduna Senator Pabio cancels Dubai trip amid outrage over Nigeria's COP28. 1,411 delegates. Those are some stories out of the Daily Trust.
Moving on to the Nation newspaper, banks fail CBN stress test on foreign operations. NJC clears 11 justices for Supreme Court. Remain strong in terrorism battle, Minister urges military. Interior Minister, we generated 1.195 billion naira from expatriate quota permits in 10 months. Rivers crisis, lawmakers hold plenary despite court order. Or your government insists schools must adhere to unified exam timetable. Tinubu lack of synergy holds down West Africa's development. 199 billion naira Bodo Boni Road project. Umai orders Julius Berger back to site. Wanted a consensus Edo APC candidate, and that's an editorial out of the Nation this morning. Ekiti needs more polling units, says observers. And some more stories says federal government weighs equity, non-interest models to fund projects. And some more stories out of the Nation. Osun communal crisis extends to Oyo. Ogun to provide shelter for victims of gender-based violence. Sanwo-Olu swears in 2 ESCO members. And finally, out of the Nation newspaper, we must make development happen, says Edo APC governorship aspirant.
From the Guardian newspaper, Akeredolu must transmit power to deputy. Ondo PDP insists INT'L bow to pressure, suspends fee hike. NDLEA alerts public to trending online drug sale. Elsewhere, dilapidated police barracks, 22,000 officers await relocation. Claims 7 months after quit notice. UN flees Kaduna bombing as protesters storm National Assembly demand ministers' resignation. President Tinubu threatens to shut down public buildings over non-compliance to disability access. And lastly, from the Guardian this morning, IVF Nigerian youth sell gametes for survival. We'll take some commercials now. When we come back, we'll be delving into the analysis. Stay with us.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong, and you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go with INT'L Home Broadband Internet. Get any of our devices like the 7500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest INT'L shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
INT'L, a reason to imagine.
Ó ga o, eléyìí tó jí wá láàárọ̀ kùtùkùtù yìí, mo ti rò pé ṣe lòun fíláàṣì mi nígbà tí ìpè rẹ wọlé sórí aago.
Fíláàṣì rẹ kẹ̀, ọpọ́n tèmi ti sún o, lọ́tẹ̀ yìí èmi ni mo máa ṣàyè fún ẹ. Ó yá, lọ múra.
Dúró náà, àbí gbẹ̀bù ti dé ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o, Zenith Better Life promo ti padà dé pẹ̀lú sáà kẹta, mo sì jẹ káàdì ẹ̀bùn oní ẹgbẹ̀rún-lọ́nà-àádọ́jọ náírà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́lẹ́ ni Zenith Bank ń pín ẹ̀bùn tó tó ẹgbẹ̀rún-lọ́nà-àádọ́jọ náírà fún àwọn oníbàárà ogun ní ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì nínú Zenith Better Life promo ti sáà kẹta. Láti lè kópa, rọra ṣí àkáǹtì Zenith Bank kí o sì fi ó kéré jù ẹgbẹ̀rún-5 náírà sílẹ̀ sínú ẹ̀. Béèrè kí o sì gba káàdì Zenith Bank yálà aláfojúrí tàbí torí ayélujára. Lẹ́yìn náà, dáúnlóòdù kí o sì forúkọ sílẹ̀ lórí Zenith Bank app tàbí kó o forúkọ sílẹ̀ fún *966# Easy Banking. Ìpolongo yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kẹfà ọdún 2023 títí di ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù kẹfà ọdún 2024. Àǹfààní yìí ṣí sílẹ̀ fún oníbàárà tuntun àti títẹ́lẹ̀. Ìgbésẹ̀ àti ìlànà wà o. Zenith Bank, fún àǹfààní ara rẹ.
Meals have a way of taking us on a journey. And when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of Knorr seasoning cubes, even better.
So, go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
This holiday season, think of moments you cherish the most with your loved ones. Moments that bring us together with DSTV. The feels.
Heartwarming family shows work best in my house.
The wins.
For me and my guys, Premier League and Champions League is all we need.
The suspense.
I don't play with our Niger drama series weeknights and weekends.
The giggles.
My favorite cartoon character is so much fun. Teen Titans Go!
Fill your holiday with the best moments. Choose moments that bring us together this holiday. Watch and stay connected. DSTV, it's your moment.
Hi there, my name is Mercy Johnson Okoje.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there, I am Aproko Doctor.
My name is Chef Winnie, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boy Cruz with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking oil is Power Oil.
Is Power Oil.
My choice is Power Oil.
Use Power Oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fortified with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes, so you can afford it without breaking the bank.
Power Oil.
72 Hours with God. It's December edition. God will be working miracles, liberating every destiny through the prophetic ministry of his anointed servant, Prophet Abel Taiwojo, tagged No More Delay. Is a special, powerful program you need at this time. Join us on Friday 8th to Sunday 10th of December 2023 at Mercy Camp, Kilometer 18 Ibadan Expressway, Osengiri, Ibadan. Friday and Saturday morning session from 9 a.m. to 12 noon WAT. Afternoon session 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. WAT. Vigil 12 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. WAT. And on Sunday 10th of December from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon WAT. While Vigil will be coming up from 10 p.m. till dawn. Music ministrations by Elijah Akintunde, Adeyinka Lashiyori, Dare Melody, and Dare Justified. God's servants will be ministering so powerfully. Prophet Taiwojo and other anointed ministers of God. For inquiries 0805-027-5779. Connect with us on Facebook at Prophet Taiwojo Live.
John, what's up? Check your phone. I just send you Momo referral.
My mama don't run that one for me since now. Me say for the find who I go refer, make a quick hammer my million.
Hey! You too fit be one of the 6 millionaires for the Momo Refer and Win promo. To win, dial *671# to sharply open your Momo account and select option 6 to refer your family and friends them. After that, make sure see them open Momo account and use them recharge time or data at least 100 naira. Chicken. Now, the more people where you refer, the more you go win. Oh. If you don't see out of 6 million naira every week, you fit to chop out of 160 million naira. Momo Refer and Win promo. The more you refer, the more you win. This promo will run from November 2010 to 31st December 2023. Terms and conditions dey shall.
Mọ́mì wa, ṣèbẹ̀ mọ̀ wípé mílìkì ń bẹ nínú Milo. Milo Active Go tí àwọn ọmọdé fẹ́ràn gan ń fún wọn ní ìdá 15 káṣíọ̀mù tí wọ́n nílò lójoojúmọ́. Káṣíọ̀mù ń jẹ́ kí egbò àwọn ọmọ le, ó sì ń ṣe wọ́n láàyè àǹfààní mìíràn. Milo ó kún láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Milo! It's due you December. That means making statements your way, just like the queens of Real Housewives of Lagos. So just relax, because it's about you enjoying top-tier entertainment like Wura, Agu, School Run, and so much more. Only on Showmax. Do You December is also for the young ones and international movie lovers. Do You with SpongeBob, Fast X, and No Hard Feelings this festive anywhere, anytime without interruptions. Do You December is all about you. Subscribe now to Showmax.com.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Great to have you back with us in the Breakdown Papers review on your laughter station, your Fenya station 94.9. It's time to dive into the analysis. I am DENIKE Adimuago.
And I'm Kenny Durutilu. Joining us this morning is Professor Lord Jericho. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, top of the day to you. Of course, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, one of the major stories this morning has to do with the National Judicial Council having picked 11 justices that will fill the vacant positions in the Supreme Court, on the Supreme Court bench. That's, of course, subject to the approval of Mr. President. Now, they prescribed 21 justices, and of course, it was at 10 before, and that was something that was supposed to be addressed, and that has been done now, of course. But do you think, looking at the names on this particular list, the 11, do they reflect diversity and inclusivity in a manner that benefits the judiciary?
First and foremost, just to note that we currently have 9. So, of course, with 11, sorry, we have 10, you're correct. So, with 11, we have to 21, which is the statutory, the constitutional requirement. Oh, yes, but if you look at the list, you understand. I think the zones are reflected here. A lot of the zones that don't have justices at the moment have now been sorted. The Southwest, there was a sort of vacancy in the Southwest, and that's gone to Justice Bureau. Many of us had thought that it might be some more experienced judge, but in the wisdom of the NJC, they've chosen Abiru from Lagos State. The other people, of course, are spread across the northwest, northeast. So there's quite a good spread. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, in my own view anyway, where the judges come from. What matters is the quality in the dispensation of justice, is the wisdom that they bring to it. The question I'm asking myself, do we have another Oputa here? Do we have another Kayode Esho? Do we have another Nnamani, Bekwe, and such like, the Obasekis of those days? That's what we need. We need judges that can dispense without fear and favor, and can be creative and innovative in the judgments that they give. Finding ways to use the law as an instrument of social change and social transformation.
All right, let's take a look at this story from the Vanguard newspaper. It says, I live in my private residence. Gbajabiamila denies allocation for renovation of residence. He has denied the story making the rounds that a significant amount of money was budgeted for the renovation of his residence in the 2024 appropriation budget. And he says that that money was earmarked for the renovation of another place, which is the presidential quarters in Dodan Barracks and the Vice President's Lodge in Lagos. Now, we've seen situations where there have been denials like this, but like they say, there's no smoke without fire. It happened with the yacht, and then eventually we found out that something had even happened already. So what's your reaction to this and the significant amount of money that is supposed to renovate the Vice President's Lodge in Lagos?
Well, first and foremost, I don't see any need to renovate anything. Not because you understand it might not be a bit shabby now, but because Nigeria can't afford it, and because really that shouldn't be the priority of the government. The priority of the government should be catering for the needs of the masses at this time. And any expenditure that can be avoided, any expenditure which is not essential to growing the economy, which is not essential to meeting our needs, as such should be shelved for now. As to Gbajabiamila's denials, I think we have to take him by his word. But still, it's not really about Gbaja. It is about, you understand, whether those spendings are necessary and whether those spendings we can afford.
How do they improve our economy if the Vice Presidential Lodge is looking good?
Well, the argument will be that if he's content, if he's living a life of luxury, then maybe he'll be able to think better and come up with more innovative ideas. No, that would be the argument. My own argument will be that when they say renovation, it's just procurement. It's another contract. At the end of the day, these accommodations that are useful and are good. Let me just make one point. In Downing Street, when they wanted to renovate Downing Street, they already have a limited budget, and they told the Prime Minister, if you want to go over the limited budget and get millionaires and billionaires to help you with the renovation, then of course you can do that. And I would suggest in Nigeria that if they want to go overboard in terms of renovations, then they should seek corporate endorsement or corporate donation. Some people would argue that might give them unnecessary influence. But my own view is that I would rather that happen than they spend money that we don't have.
All right, Prof, let's take a look at this headline. Kaduna village bombing. Protesters storm National Assembly. Amnesty International threatened suit. And, of course, deaths reach 127. That's according to the Punch. We hear the protesters occupied the National Assembly yesterday. Prof, in other climes, someone would have gotten the boot by now. Talking about this particular situation, has government handled this particular one in the best way possible, in your opinion?
I think they're a bit polite when you say somebody would have gotten the boot. Somebody would have been fired. fired, roasted, whatever it is. You understand? Somebody would have been stood down. No, I don't think the government has handled it particularly well. First, there were denials, then there was acceptance, and then there was some donation from the Chief of Army Staff, some 10 million, something. No, I think, down to the battalion or down to the Air Force commander, whoever is responsible, ask questions to answer. There must be an inquiry, of course. And of course, heads have to roll. And if systems are bad, if it's a systematic error, the systems need to be sorted. If it's human error, the human error needs to be dealt with and addressed. And then lastly, of course, apart from commiserations, apart from prayers for the repose of the soul of the dead, compensation, adequate compensation needs to be paid for those who have lost loved ones, from that point of view. And then treatment. For not just the treatment, some of them have visible injuries, but some of them have trauma. Trauma, PSD, what's called post-traumatic stress.
Right.
All this needs to be addressed. Long-term counseling, long-term support, all those have to be in place. And of course, it has to be on the government dime.
And also, talking about the protesters now, they're also asking for the resignation if he can't live up to his responsibility of the Minister of Defense.
No, I'm not sure it's the Minister of Defense direct responsibility. Operationally, it's the Chief of Army Staff. And I hold the Chief of Army Staff, Lagbaja, responsible. I hold him and his divisional commanders. That's where the buck stops, in my view. I think the Minister of Defense, of course, has oversight. Of course, he is to call those people to question and to ask them fundamentally what are the fundamental things that went wrong.
Also, along those lines, before we go to another story, the Defense Minister has vowed in this headline that the killing of civilians won't stop the fight against terrorism. Of course, that's while denouncing the tragedy that happened on Sunday.
Yes, I think it's just trying to reassure us because they can get a bit gun shy because they made a mistake and they won't want to pull the trigger. And I think it's good that we have that assurance, but also they must put in place procedures and safeguards to ensure that civilians are not collateral to the damage that is incurred when the military goes after the terrorists and the insurgents.
All right, we'll quickly touch on this story. It's about Ondo State. Akeredolu court to hear suit seeking probe of Akeredolu's health for Nigerian citizens in Ondo wants the court to force the State House of Assembly to probe Governor Akeredolu's health. I beg your pardon, health. All right, so we're going to be... Okay, so the court on Wednesday has granted the applicants leave to begin the process of filing the substantive suit in which they raise the importance of upholding public trust and all of that. Do you think anything is going to come out of this motion?
I hope so, because really, why do we need to go to court for this process? It's a normal process in our democratic process, in our constitutional provisions, that when we are faced with the kind of circumstances, the health of Governor Akeredolu, as you said, indicated, questions are asked as to whether he should be on leave and whether the deputy governor rather, should be acting. I don't know why we shy away. These two people were elected on the same ticket. And if you couldn't trust your deputy, why did you put him on the ticket? And the reason why you put a deputy on the ticket is in times like this when you're unable to function. So yes, I hope the motion will be granted, but more importantly, I hope that the members of the House of Assembly in Ondo State will rise up to their responsibilities.
All right, Prof, when you listen to this headline from the Premium Times, what comes to mind? Amidst austerity, Nigeria's government funded delegates increased 25% in 1 year. Nigeria's government-funded delegates increased 250%, I beg your pardon, in 1 year. The 422 persons funded by the Nigerian government suggests that the government funded more delegates to COP28 than the UK and US combined.
Well, now they come and tell us revised numbers and revised figures. But that's good research and that's good journalism. It's what we've been saying from the beginning, that this government is insensitive to the plight of Nigerians, that spending has continued willy-nilly, the spending is is being exacerbated even more than under the Buhari government. And for some reason, we don't know why the government is tone deaf when it comes to this. It proves to us that the government has to go back to the drawing board, revise their spending commitments, prioritize it, and stop spending on frivolities. This, in my view, are frivolities, because we don't need the number that went in order to make our point about carbon emission, about COP, or whatever we call it. After all, at the end of the day, we are not the greatest emitters of carbon dioxide in the world. Of course, we do have a fair bit. Right. We are not the greatest emitters, from that point of view. And we have other priorities to contend with. And after all, Mr. President said, all this environmental and climate change is not for us, that it's about people's needs and people's priorities. So what changed? What has changed?
All right, Prof, let's have your reaction to this one. The Kogi State Commissioner of Police has ordered the thorough investigation into the alleged attack on the Secretary of the State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, David Mike. He was allegedly attacked on his way to the office to paste copies of the petition. And yes, that's what actually happened in that particular one. It's all over the papers. Your reaction to that?
Well, it's very fishy. I think we have to get to the bottom of this. All the petition documents, well, not all, but a lot of the vital petition documents have been carted away, taken away. And of course, it was attacked. So who's going to benefit from it? It's not going to be the opposition parties that are going to benefit from it. The only persons that are going to benefit from it, in my view, are going to be the ruling party. So I'm not suggesting the ruling party did it, but we are deploying logic. It must be investigated. And of course, we have the culprits must be punished severely once it's determined that they're responsible. I mean, this is unprecedented. You understand? You win an election, and then some people, we don't know who did it, but some people then go after and get the vital documents. In other words, don't they want people to get justice? This is the kind of thing that causes people to believe that democracy can't work. Of course it can work. I believe it can work. But we must curtail and forestall this kind of criminal activities at the highest level.
I think it's good news for the Naira, and it's good news as, according to this report, the Naira yesterday depreciated to 951.22, 951 Naira 0.22 per dollar in the Nigerian foreign exchange market. And, when the dollar was increasing, we talked about it. When it was over 1,000, we talked about it. Do you think that we might see a further, depreciation in this particular process as the year is winding down and all of that?
Normally, Naira usually weakens when the year is winding down, because a lot of people bringing in currencies, wanting to get foreign currencies, for Christmas or for whatever businesses they're trying to do before the year wraps up. So I'm sure that's an indication of good news. But a lot of it depends on the government policy. If there's a consistent government policy, then people will respond accordingly. When they said they had come up with a move to clear all the foreign debts owed to the airlines and so on and so forth, and they indicated that they paid a lot of it, the Naira, of course, strengthened. So we need to begin to see government policies. What are we doing about productivity? What are we doing, you understand, about curtailing the money supply? Because the money supply also indicates if you have too much Naira in your hands, then of course you have that to go after the dollar or the pound. So I'm hoping that this trajectory will continue to bring some relief to us, so that we can have less price, the price of petrol can drop, and the price of some of our commodities can drop, and we can have a Christmas which is not bedeviled by too much inflation.
All right, we're gonna another commercial break. When we return, it'll be time to open the phone lines. Do stay with us.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
tí 9 mobile network Naija gangan bá jẹ́ àyò rẹ̀, èrè ńlá ń dúró dè ọ́. Nígbàkúgbà tí o bá nílò dátà sí láti wo sinimá tàbí gba oríṣiríṣi àjàbalẹ̀ eré ìdárayá, 9 mobile wà fún ọ. Pẹ̀lú 1,500 naira péré, wàá jẹ ìgbádùn 8 gigabyte látọ̀dọ̀ 9 mobile. O tún lè fi 9.5 gigabyte ṣe ìfàjẹ pẹ̀lú 2,000 naira péré àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Darapọ̀ mọ́ 9 mobile lónìí tàbí kí o tẹ *301# láti yan dátà olówó pọ́kú tí ó ṣe gbẹ́kẹ̀lé. 9 mobile wà níbí fún ọ, wà níbí fún Naija.
èmi ni tí ń jẹ́ mi ní wàhálà yìí.
ẹ̀yin tó mọ ní ìṣàgbọ́n àti máa ń
ṣe ní CAC Mẹ́síkà tó wà ní Òṣègèrè lójú ọ̀nà Ifẹ̀ sí Ìbàdàn. Ó tó yá ní òbàdí àdúrà fi kẹ́ràn kan lóṣù mẹ́ta yẹn o. 72 hours with God. Má jẹ̀mú àánú tó dájú lórí wòlíì. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ ẹ̀ta ìwọ òjò bàbá ìsọjí orí afẹ́fẹ́. Ó ti tó fẹ́ palẹ̀ ìdíwọ́ tí ìdẹ̀nà mọ́ kúrò níwájú oníkojúkò. Wọ́n fi pe àkórí eléyìí ní kò sí ìdádúró mọ́. Látọjọ́ Friday 8 December tó fi máa di ìdájẹ́ kùtùkùtù lọ́jọ́ Monday. Ní ẹ̀mí Ọlọ́run alààyè yóò fi máa palẹ̀ ìdíwọ́. Tí ò jẹ́ lérí àti má jẹ̀mú Ọlọ́run ó ṣe fún ayé rẹ mọ́. Nípasẹ̀ pé ẹ̀ lórí ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ sí Ọlọ́run àtàwọn olórin ẹ̀mí o. Adéyínká aláṣeyọrí ìlà ìjà akíntúndí Ọlọ́run sọ́bẹ̀. Dáre Mélòdì pẹ̀lú Dáre Justify. Wòlíì tànú sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀. Prophet Ebeta ìwọ òjò bàbá ìṣẹ́jú orí afẹ́fẹ́ yóò máa ṣiṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ ìyanu ó máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Wákàtí nínú àdúrà ó máa jò. Látọjọ́ Friday 8 December. Tá a bá ti wọnú àdúrà láago mẹ́sàn-án. Ìdájílọ́jọ́ Monday la ó ṣorí ọ̀fẹ́ o. Láti wọ́rọ̀ ọdún Ìbàdàn tàbí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Òṣègèrè ni ẹ máa bọ̀ Mẹ́síkà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́kọ̀ ọ̀fẹ́ máa wà ní wọ́rọ̀. Challenge àti ọjọ́. Ó ní ṣe dádúró mọ́ lórúkọ Jésù.
Hi there, my name is Mercy Johnson Okoje.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there, I am Aproko Doctor.
My name is Chef Winnie, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boy Cruise with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking oil is Power Oil.
Is Power Oil.
My choice is Power Oil.
Use Power Oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fortified with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes, so you can afford it without breaking the bank.
Gbéga rẹ mo ń gbọ́ ẹ̀. Wo ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ẹ. Mo ti fi mọ́mọ́ rìfà ránṣẹ́ sí ẹ.
Ó sì ti bá mi ṣèyí ti pẹ́. Èmi náà ń wẹ́ni tí mo máa rìfà kí ni gbàgbé mu mílíọ̀nù tí.
Ó yá àsìkò tó. Àníwọ̀ kan lè jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn olóríire mẹ́fà tí ó di mílíọ̀nìà nínú ìpolongo Momo Refer and Win promo. Láti jáwé olúborí, ṣáà ti pe *671# kí o sì ṣí àkáǹtì Momo tìrẹ ní kíákíá kí o sì yan nọ́mbà kẹfà nínú àwọn ọ́pṣọ̀nù nọ́mbà tó o bá rí láti rìfà ọ̀rẹ́ àti ẹbí rẹ. Kí o wá rí wípé wọ́n ṣí àkáǹtì Momo tiwọn kí wọ́n sì rí wípé wọ́n ra dátà àbí rìchaàjì ó kéré pin ọlọ́gọ́rùn-ún náírà ló bá tán. O ti ń súnmọ́ lára àwọn olóríire tí ó di mílíọ̀nìà nìyẹn o. Má gbàgbé bí o bá ṣe ń kéde ẹ̀fíránṣẹ́ sí àwọn ènìyàn sí tí o sì rí wípé wọ́n ń ṣí àkáǹtì Momo tiwọn sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ló máa jẹ̀bù falala. Lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ ó lè jẹ́ lára 100 mílíọ̀nù náírà tó o bá rí jẹ́ lára mílíọ̀nù 6. Ìpolongo Momo Refer and Win promo bó o bá ṣe ń kéde ẹ̀fíránṣẹ́ sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ló máa jẹ̀bù. Ìpolongo yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 20 oṣù yìí títí di ọjọ́ 21 oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2023. Òfin àti ìlànà wà tí a ó tẹ̀lé o.
Oúnjẹ ní bó ṣe máa ń mú wa rìnrìn àjò. Tó o bá wá fi ọ̀pọ̀ ewébẹ̀ bíi ẹ̀fọ́ àti úgú sí i. Kó o tún wá wọ́n kóró náà pẹ̀lú adùn ẹ̀ sí i. Èyí ga jù.
Fún ìdí èyí, jẹ́ kí ọ̀pọ̀ oúnjẹ rẹ sún pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀ ewébẹ̀ àti adùn kóró náà lónìí jẹun tó dáa.
She's still fierce, she's still merciless, and she's back in Wura Season 2.
Wura Amowo Adeleke will not lose my mind. I will do everything to save it.
Lives will be shattered, secrets revealed, and enemies destroyed.
Can't keep killing people as if they are goats or fowls, but we can.
But can Wura hold on to her power?
And at what cost?
Watch the new season of Wura now only on Showmax. Subscribe from 1,200 Naira monthly. Sign up at showmax.com.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong. And you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go. With INT'L Home Broadband Internet, get any of our devices, like the 7,500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest INT'L shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
INT'L, a reason to imagine.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
All right, great to have you back with us. 32 FM 94.9, the papers review. We're opening the phone lines now. Let's have your thoughts on the stories making the papers this morning. 0705 5949, 0809 7949. Those are the numbers.
All right, and we're also live on Facebook. It's 32FM 949 Ibadan. Balkis Onodiran says spending 15 billion naira on renovating the vice president's residence appears to be a lavish use of funds that won't bring meaningful change to the Nigerian economy. It's puzzling to see less than 10 billion naira allocated for student loans while such a substantial amount is earmarked for one individual's home. This financial decision is worrisome, especially considering the ongoing economic hardship faced by the masses, including rising prices of daily needs. I hope that President Tinubu reevaluates these budget priorities to better address the pressing needs of the people to avoid a repeat. And and I think to avoid a repeat of the past depressing administration. 0705 5949 and 0809 7949.
All right, Prof, let's have your reaction to this one from the Daily Post. It says 2024 budget will achieve 61% increase in health sector to reduce JAPA. That's according to the FCT. Of course, the health sector was allocated about 1.3 trillion naira. That represents 5% of the total budget. Are you in agreement that will fix the situation with the health sector?
First and foremost, we have to take into account that inflation is going at 27.8% and is predicted to rise to 30%. So we must take into account the inflationary rise, which makes the budget look, larger than it seems. So once you take that away, is there a real increase? And that would be the question. And even if there's a real increase in the budget, is it deployed to the right areas? Because, the problem we have in our health sector sometimes is that we get this fine, fancy equipment, but then we are not able to sustain it because in the budget, we don't have enough money to continue to maintain and to sustain it. The second thing about is also to do with power generation. If you have all this fancy equipment in our hospitals, you don't have power to be able to use them. Either power damages it, or either you don't have the generator to be able to carry it. Then there's no point having those equipment. So I'm hoping that the money, you understand, will be spent smartly. Smart interventions in areas that are most needed. So that people will not have the need anymore. You understand? At least it will reduce the need for medical tourism. But people must have confidence in our health sector. It's only when they have confidence, especially the super rich and the mega rich and the politicians, then we'll begin to see a sea change and people saying that. Then thirdly, we must have the doctors, of course. If the doctors continue to japa, then of course that issue remains. You have fancy equipment, nobody to operate it.
Because the concern for many of these doctors is the working environment, aside from the situation in the country right now. But our president says that he's prioritizing human capital development. Missed all of this. What do you think of that?
Well, human capital development means simply that you invest more in your human resources. You ensure that they have adequate salaries. You ensure that their offices, wards, and theaters are well equipped from that point of view. So it's a good thing that it prioritizes it. But what does it really mean in reality? Where will it get to? Is the money enough? I would have wanted more money to be spent on health and education than we have on other things like refurbishing residences left, right, and center.
Hello, good morning.
Mario calling from Akpata. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
History will never forget this present administration for spending 15 billion naira on the vice presidential lodge. Where did former VP like Namadi Sambu, where was he residing when he was the VP of this country? Where was Oshibaju? Where was he staying? Where was Atiku staying when they were the vice president of this country? Spending 50 billion naira on a single individual, the second citizen of the country, is a misplaced priority of the highest order. And history will never forget this present administration for spending such an huge amount of money on its residents at the expense of Nigerians who are languishing. So there are some Nigerians that they don't even. Some are not even for the past 3 days, and you are spending 15 billion naira just on a residential apartment for a single individual. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm John Uzo. I love that Nigerians regretting, commenting, lamenting. That is the voice of an average Nigerians, and Nigerians of good conscience should condemn the present situation we find ourselves. And I've said it, I'm ready to say that this government event is pandemania and being disciplined despite our present economic situation in the country. Thank you, Professor, for what you have said concerning the incident in Kaduna. I quite condemn it entirely. I prefer 10 terrorists to escape than to kill an innocent Nigerian. The incident was committed by Nigerian army on the ground of accidental error. Lagbaja should be held responsible and not the chief of defense staff. And this is, I don't want Nigerians to politicize this incident. This matter is already under investigation. We should be careful and sympathize with the people of Kaduna, but don't let us politicize the incident now. I'm John Rosa. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm Ademo from Akpeche. I don't know whether what we have been saying 3 months ago is getting to the ear of the government. Because you promise that your government will allocate the suffering masses, the poverty, those below poverty. We have not been lifted out of poverty. Instead, we have been.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ken.
This is John Olariwaju calling from Mayo. People used to say justice for one is justice for all. Injustice for one and injustice for all. When former President Buhari was here, the issue, something like bombing also happened in IDP camp. I thought, if I could remember, in Borno, and I did not see anyone from North to protest. They did not carry any placard. They just silent. They did not do anything. Now, when it happened in Kaduna.
All right, 0705 5000 949 0809 7000 949. Raja Hafiz Abiola says, good morning, Kenny and DENIKE. About the appreciation of Naira to dollar, honestly, it's good to see our currency go up against almighty dollar, but we're yet to see the impact of its appreciation on Nigerian economy, most especially the price of commodities. Honestly, government needs to work on price control if they want us to see the effects of appreciation of dollars. Then Nigeria will believe the government is working. God bless Nigeria.
All right, we'll leave now. Prof, before we go, any final thoughts?
I think everybody's looking towards some relief. So that Naira appreciation is something that we are praying, hoping will continue so that at least we get some relief in our everyday life.
Thank you very much, Professor Uluojedoku, for joining us this morning on the Papers Review. My name is Kenny Durutilu.
And I am DENIKE Ademoagron. The Smart Kids Show with Auntie Sumbo is up next.